How are we doing, folks? My name is Trey, and welcome to the first inaugural episode of More News. More News is the first spinoff from the More Important Issues product, I should say network. More News is something that me, Caleb, and Landon have thought about starting to put out just some extra content for you guys here at More Important Issues. Content with a little bit more broad, open topics that are not so Tennessee specific. Looking to get some conversations started to go with bigger sports. For instance, today we're going to be talking about the NCAA tournament coming up here, since it is March 3rd as we record this. So if you guys have other good topics that you would like us to discuss, we're looking at things such as quarterback rankings, coaches rankings. We can do college, we can do professional, I can do soccer, I can do about anything, but just some short, easy topics to get us going here as we get towards the dead part of sports season here. But with that being said, we'll jump right into it, as these will be short episodes here just to kind of get some conversations going. Today's main topic, as you can see, is the NCAA tournament seeds. As of February 20th, I believe, our NCAA committee, I know you guys love hearing about the NCAA committees, gave us what they said their top 16 seeds would have been in the NCAA tournament as of today. Like I said, this was February 21st, 2026. So we are about a week and a half since then. But the reason why I do bring this up is history does tell us that these 16 teams are very important. Since 2002, all NCAA tournaments champions have been 4 seeds or higher. So 4, 3, 2, 1s. All of those champions since 2002 have been those 4 seeds or higher, except the 2014 UConn team, which was a 7 seed. Something also with these 4, with the previous champions, that they all have been to the Sweet 16, all the head coaches. And looking at this list here, most of these teams fit that. So a few things to kind of point out at this list here. Like I said, it is a little outdated. In most recent bracketologies here, Alabama is now in instead of Vanderbilt, and UConn is up to a 1 seed, and Iowa State has dropped out of that 1 spot. So most people probably say, Trey, why do you show me this list? I think this year is important because it feels very open. Now, don't get me wrong. I think when you look at a Duke, a Michigan, even a UConn, from what they did to a St. John's team in the past week, an Arizona that, as of last night, won or clinched the championship of a very, very, very good Big 12 conference. You would say, there are some top teams, and I agree. But, we've seen the Houstons, the Illinois, the Kansases, all with great NBA lottery players. They have been and have played in games with the Michigans, the Dukes, the Arizonas in the world. So, looking at this list, you would say, Trey, the champion is on here. So my question is, out of these teams, who do I think actually has a chance of winning the NCAA tournament? I think this year our number gets close to 10. I know there are 12 teams here. There are a few teams that I think are, fluky is not a great word, but, are they a true NCAA tournament team? I haven't seen it. The Nebraskas of the world, the Texas Techs of the world, Gonzagas of the world. I'm not sure if I truly believe. Duke, Michigan, Illinois, Houston, Kansas, they have, these lottery players, Arizona, and all it takes in March is one player to truly take off and go and take your team to the next level. We've seen it time and time again that one player can take over a game. And when they get that momentum, momentum will carry you from game to game, to weekend to weekend. And next thing you look up in the NCAA tournament, and you're in the Final Four. So I think we have some great players and some great teams. To me, there's 10. I think you take all the 1 seeds, the Michigan, the Duke, Arizona, UConn. I think you can also see the 2 seeds, Illinois, Houston, Iowa State, Purdue. Purdue is definitely more on the end of Do I think they have it? Do they think I not? I don't know. But I think that gets us to 8. And then I asked myself, who is that team that, really can make that jump? I believe it's Florida. Florida's been playing some very, very, very good basketball. You look at this, SEC last year had, I believe it was 12 or 14 teams in the NCAA tournament. This year, they are projected 10 as Joe Lunardi's latest bracketology. Do I think Florida is as strong as last year? No. But I think that is because a lot of the SEC teams aren't as deep or as strong as last year. I could totally see where we get to the second weekend and there's still a handful of teams. That kind of leads me to my next point, that I think there are a couple teams not on this list that I would not be completely shocked if I saw them at the Final Four in Indianapolis. Those two teams are Arkansas and North Carolina. The reason why I bring up those two teams, Arkansas and North Carolina, very similar to my points about Duke, Michigan, Illinois, Arizona, is these two teams have that player, and it, like I said, it can sometimes, one player can drag you all the way through this tournament. Arkansas has a great player in Darius Acuff. They have a great coach in John Calipari that has been there. He has done the thing. And North Carolina also, Hubert Davis, he can coach. He's shown he can coach at a very high level. And Caleb Wilson, when healthy, is one of the best players in the country. So, when you add those 8 to 9 teams from this field, plus the 2 others, I think there is a good chance that we may be in store for a great March. Ladies and gentlemen, that is it from the first episode of More News. Like I said, please send us any recommendations for any further content you would like to see. I'm open to anything. Our social medias are below here. You can find us on Twitter at More Issues, or on Instagram and YouTube at More Important Issues 16. Thank you, guys. Have a good one.